You're looking at this screen right now, and you have no idea what's actually happening inches from your face. This glass rectangle is performing over 500 million calculations per second just to show you this video, and most people never stop to ask how, because once you understand how your phone screen actually works, you'll never look at it the same way again. Let's get into it. At its core, a screen is a grid, millions of tiny dots called pixels. Your phone likely has over 2 million of them, each one capable of displaying any color imaginable. But here's what most people don't realize. Every pixel is actually composed of 3 even smaller light sources: red, green, and blue. 3 colors, that's the entire foundation. Mixed together at varying intensities, they produce the full spectrum of color you see on screen. This is the RGB model, and it underpins every display ever made. Now, not all screens produce light the same way. There are 2 dominant technologies, LCD and OLED, and the difference between them is more significant than most people appreciate. LCD, or liquid crystal display, works by placing a backlight behind a layer of liquid crystals. These crystals don't emit light themselves. They act as shutters, twisting to allow light through or blocking it entirely. A color filter then separates that light into red, green, and blue, and the image is formed. The fundamental limitation here is that the backlight never turns off. Even when displaying pure black, the light is still shining. It's just being blocked. This is why LCD blacks tend to look like a very dark gray rather than true black. OLED, organic light emitting diode, takes a fundamentally different approach. Each pixel generates its own light independently. There is no backlight. When a pixel needs to display black, it simply doesn't turn on. The result is absolute black, extraordinary contrast, and significantly more accurate color. It also means dark mode isn't just an aesthetic preference on an OLED device. Pixels that are off consume no power, which translates directly to better battery life. This distinction is why premium phones command a higher price. The engineering behind OLED is considerably more complex, and the visual payoff is real. The display itself is only half the story. The other half is how the screen responds to your touch, and that involves an entirely separate layer of technology called capacitive sensing. The human body carries a small electrical charge. The screen is coated with a transparent conductive grid, and when your finger approaches it, it creates a measurable distortion in the electric field at that precise location. The device reads that distortion, calculates the coordinates, and registers your input, all within milliseconds. This is why a standard pen or gloved hand produces no response. They don't conduct electricity. Dedicated styluses like the Apple Pencil are engineered specifically to replicate the electrical signature of a fingertip, and because the sensor tracks multiple distortion points simultaneously, the screen can interpret several fingers at once, which is the basis of every pinch, zoom, and 2-finger gesture you use. There's one more variable worth understanding: refresh rate. A screen doesn't hold a static image. It redraws the entire frame repeatedly, many times per second. A 60Hz display does this 60 times per second. A 120Hz display does it twice as often. The human visual system is sensitive enough to perceive this difference, even if you can't consciously articulate why. It's the reason scrolling on a high refresh display feels qualitatively different. Not faster, but more fluid, more present. Engineers refer to this as perceived latency, and it's one of the subtler ways hardware shapes user experience. If you made it this far, you clearly enjoy understanding how things actually work. Share this with a friend who'd appreciate it. And if it was worth your time, a like goes a long way. The next time you pick up your phone, consider what you're actually holding: millions of individually controlled light sources, a sensor grid responding to the electrical field of your body, a processor coordinating all of it in real time, faster than conscious thought. That's not a minor feat of engineering. That's decades of accumulated human ingenuity, compressed into a few millimeters of glass. I'll see you in the next one.